This is the Zac Anesbury Show.
Welcome. On today's podcast clip, we have Professor Rachel Kennedy from the Ehrenberg Bass Institute, University of South Australia. It's back every year, which is quite a lot more than my first one, which was 8 years ago. I think it was like 300 people. And, you go there and you see the same familiar faces. But I reckon I'd know 40 of them. And there's like, who are these other people and what are they doing with their lives? Like, they don't research in my area. Like B2B researchers or something. You still see them every year, but I have no idea who they are. But I suppose they're kind of more general, whereas I have been told there's some benefit in, like, once you find sort of your research area, whether it's advertising or maybe a specialist sort of econometrics conference or whatever, then that's trying to go to a smaller conference it might be a better idea because there'll be less people and you'll be able to speak to the experts in that area.
Yeah, I was about to say that can be a big win of working out who else is going to conferences, and that's where I've had the most value. So I went to one in France, which I think was, under 100 people, but they were all advertising specialists. And so I got to meet some of the bigger names, and so it was much more intimate and focused. But there's a time and a place for different ones, depending where you are in your career as to whether you're needing to build networks and meet people, or you just want to dive in and get, know what's happening in the domain.
Yeah, I guess it would be very, like, your individual circumstance. So if you're in a PhD position, for example, and you're a PhD student and you're thinking, I'm going to finish in 2 years, and there might not be capacity at your own university to hire you, or some universities have policies.
That's a big thing in the US.
Or they don't hire their own PhD graduates. I better network.
But also some conferences are very much tied into journals, and so it's a route to getting your work published. So editors will be there looking for work, and sometimes, the best paper in the stream can also be shortlisted to journals, or so if, getting published is a priority, then, that will help also highlight some conferences.
That's right. It was Jenny Romanik's work. She was presenting something. No, I was chatting to her before a presentation one time, and it was within the institute. And I said, that was like a really cool paper. I finished reading it the other day. She got into the Journal of Business Research, which is an A journal, quite a good impact factor. And, she said the way that she got into it was the editor or someone specifically from the journal was there, liked her work and invited her to write for it. Right time, right place, and obviously great research.
Yeah, and certain conferences absolutely are set up to encourage that matching, because it's good for journals and editors that they can see what work is in progress and what fits with their journals. So they win out of the process because it can kind of speed up good matching, and good for the authors because, they're sending their work to outlets that, are likely to be interested.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So I suppose a good way to end the podcast, so thank you for your time, Rachel, would be just if you have any general advice for any young marketers or maybe people from industry, what would be your key takeaway that you'd want for people to know?
I'm probably biased there, but I'd encourage them to read and get to know how brands grow and the evidence that has been built up over recent decades. It might seem incredibly obvious to anyone listening to this podcast or who's aware of us, but I think around the world there are so many marketers who still are so focused on segmenting, targeting, positioning, unique points of difference and some of these things that they're missing the big opportunity in marketing.
Perfect. And that book is definitely available on all of the, Amazon and Book Depository and all of those. Excellent way to finish. Thank you so much for your time, Rachel. I've learned so much. I've had a great time, actually.
Thank you, Zac. Always a pleasure to have a chat.
Bye. Hey guys, it's Zac Anesbury here with just a couple of quick reminders. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, then make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. There are plenty more interviews to come with some of the world's leading marketing academics and practitioners. You do not want to miss these. In the meantime, if you're looking for another way to connect, then follow me on Twitter at Zac Anesbury. That is ZACANESBURY for my take on the marketing issues of the day.